Here how we can draw out our eyes in a couple kind of more realistic approaches. I find the eyes can give some people some difficulty, so I kind of wanted to do two approaches to them to give you guys a couple options. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn the face layer off to start. And just to let you know, I do have the upper part of the eye in one layer, and then I have the inner eye in another. I find it's easier to build out. So when I zoom in, you can see that we've got the eye shape. We've got some nice eyelashes here, and I find that really adds some detail, and then how I've built the actual iris in. So we'll go over that. We'll go over that later. So just to start, I'm going to go over and work on the right eye. I did already go ahead, just to save some time in the video, already go in there and draw out the eye. So I just went and used my pen tool and just traced right around the eye so you can see where that line is. I will be adding lashes, so I'm not too concerned with how my curves are looking there. But areas like this, you might need to go in and do some adjusting. But I think for now this is good. What I did also do in this little area is I adjusted the width of my stroke. So I used Shift W and went in here, and this is where you can kind of pull that out a little bit. Oh, it's kind of working a bit funny here. And also went ahead and tapered out this edge. I've mentioned a few times I find the tapering of the edges, if you are doing an outline, does add some almost realism to the illustration. It looks as though, you know, you've lifted your pencil up off that paper very gracefully. So I'll just show you how we do it over here. This is the inner part of that bottom lid. Or sorry, I guess technically the outer end. So wherever you have your white point, you're going to use your direct select arrow, your white arrow. I'm going to click, and I'm going to go Shift W, and I'm just going to pull that point in. Go ahead and click this, Shift W, and pull that point in. The reason why I do select that point, if I just click on the line and Shift W, it's going to apply that taper to the whole stroke, and sometimes you just don't need that. So I'm also going to bring this stroke width or weight down, and I think that's working. So now I'm just going to go ahead and start building out the lashes. So you could see the eyes kind of going not quite on track. Oops, not quite on track here. So do a few adjustments. And then again, yeah, I think it's time to start building out those lashes. So I'm going to just start way out on this end, working again with the pen tool, working quite loosely, essentially. Just bring that stroke weight down. I don't think you need to make these too perfect. I think the more kind of organic they are, I think that adds a little bit of realism to it. So I'm just going to kind of, as quick as I can, go ahead and add some in here so you can see they kind of crisscross a bit. And then okay, just continuing on building up those lashes. And you can kind of go in and add as much detail. I guess depends on, you know, if you want to have those really kind of fluttery looking lashes, or if you prefer to kind of, you know, at least just make them there, but not crazy noticeable. So I like to work quickly with my pen tool. So again, I'm on my pen tool, and I just keep my hands on the keyboard. So I click and drag, and when I need to move my node into another point, or my directional point, this point here, I just press Option, and then I move that guy down. So I'm going to go, and then I can again press Option. I can go ahead and adjust here. The key to kind of quick pen tool techniques is not having to go and click on a new tool, just being able to utilize those tools pretty quick and kind of zip on through it. So just adding maybe a few more here, and then what I think I'll do, I'm creating this as one solid object. So I do think what I'll do is then go in and see how this looks once I fill it in, and then probably go in and add some additional little wispies and kind of look at the other eye and see how that worked out. Kind of get a gauge here and maybe just kind of end on this guy. Alright, so now I can just use this eye stroke as my basis here. And there we go. So we can kind of see some hiccups happening here. So that's where we can go in and make our adjustments. This is quite heavy, so I don't think that looks very realistic. It's looking a bit sharp. But always good to kind of take a step back. And not so bad. So it does look a bit heavier over on the outer edge than over on here. In realism and in real life, it's probably actually like that. But if you do want to take the time and go in and adjust, I can see that's a bit out there too far. You can kind of go in and make those adjustments. I won't bother getting into those little details now. You just want to make sure things like that aren't happening where your strokes are crisscrossing over each other, because that's where you do get some little tiny little hiccups happening. So again, looking over to this eye in comparison to this eye, so for instance, this inner eye part, this is where you can kind of use your own judgment as to where you feel either you want to go very realistic and follow your photo exactly as is, or you think, okay, I think I'm just going to use that as my guide and go in and make some little adjustments to add a little or less realism. So I'm thinking these little eyelashes here don't quite look the way I want them to, so I will go in and make some adjustments, and then, like I said, I think I'm going to go in and maybe kind of have one going into the other direction. Oops, adding a few more in there. So not too bad for that first quick approach. Like I said, it kind of takes a few trial and errors to decide where exactly you'd like those things to be placed, the direction. Again, sometimes following directly with your photo doesn't translate exactly how you kind of would really like it to in our illustration. So that's where you're like, okay, I'm going to make a few adjustments so it kind of works with the style of our illustration. That guy looked a little bit like a big old shark's tooth, so made that adjustment there. Another thing I did add to this one, which you can or can't do, it's up to you. I did add a little bit of an offset tone for the lash. I think from afar it does add a little bit of depth to it. It's very subtle, but those little subtle details really can make a difference. So I'm just going to leave the lashes alone for now. As much as that little section's kind of bugging me, I'll just leave it as is. Turn that back on, see where we're at. So we can start to maybe just build that little inner eye duct right now. And this is going to end up going behind this eye shape. So I can kind of really loosely do that section. I'm just going to pick up that same tone. And then just kind of loosely decide where this is going to be. I'm just going to cut this video off at this stage, and I'm going to start up another one. Whoops. So we can get a good, there we go. All right, folks, sometimes it just takes a few little adjustments to get those in place where we need them to. So again, I'm just going to stop here. I'm going to take it back, and we'll go into our next section.